You've heard of hot sellers, but what about the bikes that dealers can't seem to unload? Today, we're diving into 7 Japanese motorcycles that are struggling to move off the showroom floor. These models might have missed the mark, but if you're quick, you can get them for a steal. Number 7. Honda Rebel 300. There was a time when it seemed like every manufacturer was chasing the entry-level rider. Light, simple, affordable cruisers were supposed to be the key to pulling new blood into the motorcycle world. On paper, it looked like a slam dunk. But once it hit showroom floors, it quickly became clear that this baby cruiser was going to have a hard time finding long-term success. The Rebel 300 is powered by a 286 cubic centimeter single-cylinder engine. It produces 27 horsepower and 19 pound-feet of torque, making it ideal for new riders looking for manageable performance without being overwhelming. The bike weighs in at 364 pounds wet, making it one of the lightest full-size cruisers available. A low seat height of 27.2 inches and a compact wheelbase make it incredibly easy to maneuver at low speeds, while the classic bobber styling, with its fat tires and minimalist bodywork, gives it the right visual appeal for first-time buyers. At first glance, the Rebel 300 seems to check every box. It is lightweight, low to the ground, and stylish enough to attract riders who do not want a bike that screams beginner. Honda's reputation for bulletproof reliability also plays in its favor. The ergonomics are relaxed, with mid-mounted controls and an upright riding position that suits city streets and casual weekend cruising. It even features a slipper clutch for smoother downshifts, a feature once reserved for high-performance sport bikes. But once buyers started looking closer, the cracks began to show. The biggest problem is performance. 27 horsepower sounds fine on paper, but in real-world riding, it feels sluggish once you leave city limits. Getting up to highway speeds takes effort, and maintaining 70 miles per hour feels like wringing the bike's neck. Riders quickly realized that if they wanted a machine that could grow with them, the Rebel 300 would feel underpowered within a few months of ownership. Then there is the price issue. With a starting price close to $4,900 brand new, the Rebel 300 found itself dangerously close to bigger, better bikes. Spend a little more, and a rider could step into a Honda Rebel 500, which offers a 571 cubic centimeter parallel twin engine, 47 horsepower, and significantly more flexibility for long-term ownership. Many buyers looked at the numbers and chose to skip the 300 altogether, opting to future-proof their purchase with a slightly larger machine. While the Rebel 300 remains a great choice for absolute beginners who plan to stay within city limits, it has struggled to maintain relevance in a rapidly shifting beginner bike market. Today, brand new units often sit on dealership floors, competing against used motorcycles offering twice the power for the same money. The styling still draws attention, and for smaller riders, the Rebel 300 offers unmatched accessibility. But for many, it simply feels like a bike that demands an upgrade far too soon. Dealers recognize this too, and you can now find brand new Rebel 300s available for under $4,500 in many markets, often bundled with gear or service plans just to make the deal sweeter. The Rebel 300 struggled, but the next midsize cruiser is facing even bigger headwinds. Number 6. Kawasaki Vulcan 1700 Vicero. In the world of big baggers, every manufacturer dreams of stealing a slice of the American cruiser market. Kawasaki rolled the dice with the Vulcan 1700 Vicero, aiming to offer riders a full-dress touring cruiser packed with attitude, power, and comfort. With bold styling, a massive engine, and plenty of road presence, it had all the ingredients to challenge Harley-Davidson and Indian on their own turf. But even with all that muscle, the Vicero struggled to find its place, and now it sits at dealerships, overlooked by buyers who prefer the originals. At the heart of the Vicero is a 1700 cubic centimeter V-twin engine, producing 81 horsepower and 107 pound-feet of torque. Weighing a hefty 845 pounds, this machine was built for long-haul stability, featuring a frame-mounted fairing, integrated hard saddlebags, and a low seat height of 28.5 inches. The engine is paired to a 5-speed transmission with overdrive, sending all that torque to the rear wheel via a reliable belt drive. Kawasaki also fitted the Vicero with electronic cruise control, a 6-speaker audio system, and dual analog gauges to complete the touring package. Visually, the Vicero delivers a serious punch. The blacked-out engine, aggressive front fairing, and stretched saddlebags give it a slammed custom look right out of the factory. It was clear Kawasaki wanted this bike to appeal to riders who love the bagger look, but maybe wanted something a little different from the standard Harley-Davidson Road Glide or Street Glide profiles. The fit and finish are solid, and the bike commands attention on the highway or in a parking lot. However, performance realities began to show once riders got some miles under the wheels. Despite its impressive torque figures, the Vicero's acceleration feels muted compared to competitors. The engine, while durable, is tuned for smoothness rather than aggression, leaving some riders underwhelmed when rolling on the throttle. Combined with the bike's substantial weight, it often feels more lumbering than lively. Quick passing maneuvers and spirited rides on winding roads expose the limits of its performance package. Fuel economy also became a sticking point. The big V-twin drinks gas at a faster rate than many competing tourers, with real-world averages often falling into the low 30 miles per gallon range. For riders planning cross-country trips, that means more frequent fuel stops and a bigger bite out of the travel budget. In a category where long-haul comfort and practicality matter, these issues could not be ignored. Comfort is a mixed bag on the Vicero. The seat is wide and supportive, the floorboards are roomy, and the riding position is relaxed. But the wide handlebars and forward controls create a reach that may be too long for some riders, especially on shorter trips or during urban riding. The suspension, while adequate for highway cruising, can feel harsh over broken pavement, transmitting more bumps and vibration than riders would expect from a big touring machine. Today, dealers are offering new Vicero models at significantly lower prices, some even dropping below $14,000 depending on the market. It remains a solid bike for riders who want classic bagger looks with Japanese reliability, but it simply could not shake the reality that image matters as much as performance in the big cruiser world. Big cruisers can miss, but wait until you see how one adventure bike completely lost its way. Bet you did not see that coming. Hit like, tap subscribe, and let's keep the surprises rolling. Number 5. Yamaha Super Tennere 1200. In the adventure motorcycle world, few names carry the same legendary weight as the Super Tennere. Yamaha built it to take on the toughest rides, from cross-country tours to off-road adventures deep into the backcountry. On paper, it had everything serious riders wanted: rugged durability, plenty of power, and the kind of reliability that could be trusted anywhere in the world. But as the adventure market evolved, the Super Tennere 1200 found itself slipping behind, and today dealerships are finding it harder and harder to move these heavyweight machines. Underneath its rugged frame sits an 1199 cubic centimeter parallel twin engine that produces 110 horsepower and 84 pound-feet of torque. The bike tips the scales at an imposing 578 pounds wet, making it one of the heavier choices in the adventure touring category. Yamaha equipped the Super Tennere with a 6-speed transmission, shaft drive for low maintenance, and adjustable suspension to allow riders to fine-tune the bike for loaded touring or solo exploration. It also comes with selectable riding modes, traction control, and linked braking, giving it a full suite of modern touring essentials. When it launched, the Super Tennere 1200 was praised for its toughness. Riders loved that it could soak up abuse, haul heavy loads, and still feel composed whether crossing highways or rocky trails. The wide, upright riding position made it comfortable for long days in the saddle, and the adjustable windscreen and ergonomic seat design allowed for customizable comfort across different rider sizes. Yamaha clearly engineered the Super Tennere for durability first, wrapping the engine with a robust skid plate and placing emphasis on long-distance, hard-use reliability. However, the same qualities that made it legendary also became its downfall. As the adventure motorcycle market shifted toward lighter, more nimble machines, the Super Tennere began to feel like a dinosaur. Riders increasingly demanded bikes that could not only survive rough terrain, but also feel lively and manageable in tight technical conditions. Competitors like the Honda Africa Twin and the Yamaha Tennere 700 offered comparable off-road capability at much lighter weights and lower prices, and they began pulling attention and sales away from the big Yamaha. Performance comparisons also hurt the Super Tennere. While 110 horsepower is plenty for touring, it lags behind newer competitors that offer sharper throttle response, more exciting mid-range power, and advanced electronic rider aids like semi-active suspension systems and sophisticated cornering ABS. The Super Tennere's electronics package, once state-of-the-art, began to feel dated against bikes coming from Europe and Japan alike. Another challenge was the price. Originally, the Super Tennere commanded a premium for its feature set, but as the years went by without major redesigns, riders began questioning whether it was worth the investment. Even when dealerships started offering models for under $12,000, the heavy weight and older technology made the Super Tennere a tough sell against newer, lighter adventure options that offered a more thrilling and manageable riding experience. Today, many Super Tennere 1200s can still be found on dealership floors, often tucked away in the back alongside older inventory. They represent a fantastic value for riders who prioritize toughness and long-distance ability over flashy electronics and nimble handling. Adventure bikes struggled, but sport bikes are feeling the squeeze too. Number 4. Suzuki GSXS750. When Suzuki introduced the GSXS750, it was intended to offer riders a true street fighter experience without the high price tag of leader-class machines. The idea was simple. Take a proven platform, strip it down, sharpen the looks, and deliver solid performance at a price everyday riders could afford. At first glance, the GSXS750 seemed ready to fight head-to-head with middleweight competitors. But once it hit showroom floors, it quickly became clear that Suzuki was offering too little, too late. The GSXS750 is powered by a 749 cubic centimeter inline-4 engine, producing 112 horsepower and 64 pound-feet of torque. Weighing approximately 467 pounds wet, it is relatively light for a 4-cylinder middleweight and offers strong top-end power. The bike's chassis, a twin-spar steel frame, provides decent stability and nimbleness for street riding. It also comes equipped with an adjustable front fork and a preload adjustable rear shock to help soak up rough pavement. The GSXS750 styling leans aggressively modern with sharp lines, a compact headlight assembly, and a minimalist rear tail section. Performance-wise, the GSXS750 is no slouch. It revs freely, pulls hard once past 6,000 revolutions per minute, and delivers the kind of smooth, high-revving character that inline-4 lovers crave. The gearbox is slick and precise, and the bike feels planted when carving through twisty roads. On pure riding merit, it can still put a grin on your face. However, despite these strengths, the GSXS750 has struggled to win over buyers in today's fiercely competitive middleweight market. One major problem is technology. While the GSXS750 does feature basic traction control, it lacks many of the advanced electronic features now expected in this segment. There are no selectable ride modes, no quick shifter, no cornering ABS, and no modern digital dash. Compared to rivals like the Yamaha MT-09 or Kawasaki Z900, both of which come packed with cutting-edge tech, the GSXS750 feels outdated right off the showroom floor. Price positioning is another critical issue. With a new price hovering around $7,000, many riders expected a machine loaded with modern features. Instead, they found a bike based on older technology, offering only the basics while competitors moved the bar higher. Buyers willing to spend $7,000 to $8,000 increasingly opted for newer, lighter, and more electronically sophisticated machines. The GSXS750's weight, while manageable, also works against it in a segment where lightweight agility is king. While it handles well at speed, it feels a little sluggish in tight urban environments compared to nimbler middleweight twins. For riders looking for an all-around city and weekend canyon bike, other models simply felt easier to live with day to day. As a result, dealerships across the country are struggling to move the GSXS750. Riders who test ride it often leave impressed by the engine performance, but ultimately choose something with a newer design, better tech, or lighter weight. The GSXS750 is still a solid bike for riders who prioritize pure mechanical thrills over gadgetry, but it simply has not kept pace with modern expectations. The GSXS750 missed the mark, but this next cruiser never even got a fair shot. Number 3. Yamaha VStar 250. There was a time when small displacement cruisers were seen as the perfect first step into the world of motorcycling. Lightweight, affordable, and easy to manage, they helped thousands of new riders find their footing. That is the space Yamaha aimed to dominate with the VStar 250. A tiny V-twin cruiser that promised big bike style in a beginner-friendly package. But while the idea had merit back when it launched, today the VStar 250 feels trapped in the past, and dealerships are finding it harder and harder to convince new buyers to ride one home. At the heart of the VStar 250 is a 249 cubic centimeter air-cooled V-twin engine. It produces 21 horsepower and 15 pound-feet of torque. The bike tips the scales at 325 pounds wet, making it incredibly light compared to other cruisers. The seat height is a low 27 inches, designed to give new riders confidence when coming to a stop or maneuvering at low speeds. The VStar 250 uses a 5-speed transmission paired with a chain final drive and simple mechanical components aimed at reducing maintenance headaches. The styling was always one of the VStar 250's selling points. From a distance, it carries the silhouette of a full-sized cruiser, wide handlebars, a teardrop fuel tank, and plenty of chrome touches. For a brand new rider looking for a motorcycle that looked like a real bike without breaking the bank, it delivered just enough visual presence to seem larger than life. However, despite all of these beginner-friendly features, the cracks have started to show, and show loudly. First and foremost, performance. 21 horsepower is simply not enough by modern standards. Even for a first motorcycle, the VStar 250 feels underpowered, especially once you leave city streets and venture onto highways. Maintaining 65 miles per hour takes real effort, and passing traffic can feel like a chore rather than a confident maneuver. Most new riders today expect a bit more flexibility, and machines like the Kawasaki Ninja 400 or Honda Rebel 500 offer far superior performance without adding intimidating size. The technology on the VStar 250 also shows its age. While simplicity can be an advantage for maintenance, there is almost nothing in terms of modern amenities. No anti-lock brakes, no fuel gauge, no traction control, not even an optional electronic package. In today's market, where even small displacement bikes come with safety and convenience features, the VStar 250 feels bare bones in a way that no longer feels charming. Comfort, too, is a double-edged sword. The low seat and narrow dimensions are great for urban commuting, but longer rides quickly expose the bike's limitations. The suspension is basic and can feel harsh over rough pavement. The saddle, while adequate for short trips, offers little support for anything longer than a casual afternoon ride. Price was once the VStar 250's saving grace, but even that has become a challenge. Brand new models list around $4,700, and while dealers frequently offer them under $4,000 to clear inventory, most buyers still steer toward newer, faster, and better equipped machines. For just a little more money, a buyer can step into a Rebel 500, a much more capable and modern motorcycle that will grow with the rider's skills. The VStar 250 is struggling, but the next sport bike was supposed to be a comeback story. Number 2. Honda CBR 500R. Middleweight sport bikes have always filled an important role, offering new riders an accessible upgrade without jumping straight into high-powered leader bikes. Honda understood this better than most, and with the CBR 500R, they created a motorcycle that was supposed to be the perfect bridge between beginner-friendly machines and true supersports. A comfortable, approachable design with classic sport bike styling wrapped around proven Honda reliability. It should have been an easy sell. At the core of the CBR 500R is a 471 cubic centimeter parallel twin engine, producing 47 horsepower and 32 pound-feet of torque. These numbers give it a balanced, usable power band that feels lively without ever being overwhelming. Weighing just 429 pounds wet, the CBR 500R offers a lightweight and manageable experience that appeals to a broad range of riders. The engine is mated to a 6-speed transmission, delivering smooth shifts and easy power delivery. Combined with a low seat height of just 31 inches, it makes for a sport bike that feels friendly right from the start. Handling is another strong point. The CBR 500R's chassis feels well-balanced and confidence-inspiring, whether weaving through city traffic or attacking backroad curves. The suspension is tuned for everyday versatility, offering a smooth ride without sacrificing too much cornering ability. The front forks are a standard telescopic design, and the rear uses a single adjustable shock. Braking is handled by a single large front disc and a rear disc, with anti-lock braking system now standard on newer models. Despite all these positives, the CBR 500R found itself trapped between markets. Riders stepping up from small bikes like the Rebel 300 or the Ninja 400 often expect a major leap in performance. But the CBR 500R, while faster than entry-level machines, does not deliver the thrilling rush that many riders expect when they upgrade. It feels refined, polished, and practical, but not exciting. Another stumbling block was the price. With a starting price often hovering around $7,300 and sometimes pushing $6,800 after dealer markdowns, it competes closely with faster, better-equipped bikes. For just a little more money, riders can find deals on leftover supersports or even adventure bikes like the Yamaha Tennere 700, which offer far more capability and a stronger emotional pull. The CBR 500R's practicality is undeniable, but it is also part of the problem. Riders looking for a commuter bike often choose naked standards or smaller bikes with better fuel economy and easier ergonomics. Riders looking for performance go straight to bigger machines. The CBR 500R falls into an awkward middle ground, good at everything but exceptional at nothing. Dealerships have realized this mismatch, and many are pushing CBR 500Rs harder than ever. It is common to see brand new models sitting at $6,000 or slightly below, making them an incredible deal for riders who understand what they are getting. A solid, reliable machine that will deliver years of trouble-free riding, even if it will not set the world on fire. Good bikes sometimes get overlooked, but the next one had the odds stacked against it from day one. Number 1. Suzuki SV650. Back in the early 2000s, the SV650 became a legend. It was the bike that could do it all. Sporty enough for track days, comfortable enough for commuting, affordable enough for new riders, and capable enough for seasoned ones. For years, the SV650 was the ultimate middleweight all-rounder. But as the motorcycle market evolved, the demands of riders changed. And today, despite its incredible legacy, the SV650 is struggling to find a home on dealership floors. Powering the SV650 is a 645 cubic centimeter V-twin engine, delivering 75 horsepower and 47 pound-feet of torque. It weighs in at 434 pounds, making it light and easy to handle. That power is sent through a smooth 6-speed transmission, and the combination of the lightweight chassis, strong mid-range punch, and compact ergonomics made the SV650 a favorite for riders who wanted an honest, no-nonsense machine that simply worked. With a starting price around $7,100, it was meant to be an affordable, versatile option in a crowded field. However, the modern motorcycle market has moved on. Riders today expect their bikes to come with advanced electronics packages, things like traction control, cornering anti-lock braking systems, ride modes, and customizable settings. The SV650 remains stubbornly analog. Aside from basic anti-lock braking systems, it offers none of the modern electronic aids that buyers now consider standard, even on middleweight motorcycles. Competition has also gotten fiercer. Newer bikes like the Yamaha MT-07 offer similar performance but come with fresher styling and a more aggressive marketing push. Adventure bikes like the Yamaha Tennere 700 or Honda Africa Twin have exploded in popularity, pulling away a huge segment of riders who once would have considered naked standards like the SV650. Meanwhile, models like the Kawasaki Z650 offer a more modern aesthetic with sharp bodywork and updated tech features that attract younger buyers. Even within Suzuki's own lineup, the SV650 feels somewhat forgotten. New models like the GSXS750 aim to offer a more advanced take on the middleweight naked bike formula. featuring parallel twin engines, updated styling, and modern electronics. As a result, many dealerships have leftover SV650 units sitting in the back, overshadowed by flashier, newer models. Comfort-wise, the SV650 is still a strong contender. The riding position is neutral and relaxed, making it great for commuting and weekend rides. The suspension, while basic, handles potholes and rough pavement with surprising composure. But for a buyer spending around $7,000, the lack of tech and somewhat dated appearance are harder to ignore today than they were 10 or 15 years ago. As of now, many dealerships are offering brand new SV650 models for around $6,500, making them an incredible value for riders who care more about riding feel than flashy gadgets. The SV650 remains one of the best pure riders bikes you can buy, but it is clear that its time at the top has passed. Would you rescue an SV650 at a bargain, or has its time finally passed? Let us know down below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.